I put my trust in you, and I trust in love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love. I put my trust in you, and I trust in love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love.
Hello friends, my name is Dane Miller.
And I am Mal Spain, and we're your fuck buddies.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and we turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we find questions either online or from our wonderful listeners on the topics of sex and dating. We answer them right here, right now, in your ears, collaboratively, as a fucking team. And we got an award for it once.
We did get one award. We have a lot of nominations, but one award.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we teased something last week.
We did.
We
and you know what?
Something.
Before you do it, let's tease it more. You're not going to find out till later in the episode. How about that?
Okay. I think that's bad choices, but okay.
Not too much later, but later.
We're not going to tell you when in the episode, but we will tell you something in the episode.
Mm-hmm. We could just tell them now.
I think telling them now would be a good choice.
Well, pity we already made the other choice. You ready for a question?
Yep.
This is by Sir Turtle91. I'm intending to ask a girl out next Friday. What can I do to increase my chances of getting a yes between now and then? I really like this girl. She's very nice and really cute. However, I have absolutely no game whatsoever. What can I do to increase my chances of getting her to go out with me?
You just gotta grind and get your luck stat up, boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta farm all week.
Yeah, a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, you need charisma," but a lot of people don't realize this. But when it comes to date getting, it's actually the hidden stat is actually the luck stat. So you're actually going to want to get gear that increases your luck chances, or anything like that. You want anything sort of blue and over. None of this fucking gray common shit. None of this fucking green uncommon shit. You want rare or higher.
Now, Dane's being silly and talking about unrealistic things. I'm saying become a farmer for the next week. Girls like men that have land. Girls like men that have them hoe muscles. And I mean, because you're hoeing out the earth on a semi-regular basis.
And also, the more sex you have, the more muscular your dick gets.
Exactly. That's the other type of hoe muscle. Now, in all honesty, what can you do between now and Friday? You could get a nice haircut.
I mean, does it say he's asking them out in person?
It doesn't.
Hey, look, there's nothing wrong. If you look good, you're going to feel good and your confidence is going to radiate, right? That'll make you feel good. It's not a bad idea.
It might be in person.
It might be in person.
There's nothing you can really do to change yourself dramatically in a few days. You're not going to hit the gym and get absolutely shredded.
But I don't think that's what he's asking.
No, I know, but I'm going through all these things. Going through a bunch of things, right? Okay, you go then.
I feel the problem with this question is there's no context of how long have you known this person, right? Where did you meet them? How are you asking them out? What's your plan? Because maybe your plan is to drive your car full speed through their front door and be like, date me. And that,
in which case you need to spend the next few days reinforcing the hood of your car.
Right? That's a bad plan. That's not going to get you a date. Or maybe you're showing up at their class with a big fucking thing of flowers and you're doing a big grand romantic gesture. Also probably not going to work. It might, but it's weird. Don't do that. So that I think is crucial information to give when trying to increase your chances. I need to know what your chances sort of baseline, because this could also be the cashier at your grocery store that you've talked to twice. So I think, if we're going to, in order to answer this question the way that we need to answer it, let's assume that they have a pre-existing relationship some way, right?
We don't have to assume that. So what I was going to do was just point out the things you could change that might have even the slightest bearing on this to eventually lead up to the point that realistically, nothing is really going to change between now and next Friday. There's very few things you can do in a few days. I think it's one of those approaches that is very much like pickup artistry, where it's there's no shortcuts. There's no magic oh shit, you haven't eaten your 3 grams of ginger, you're fucked. That's not it. So I was going to say there are minor things you could do. You could get a nice haircut. You could make sure you're feeling yourself. You can, be confident, blah, blah, blah. But we were going to probably end in the same destination which you are about to, which is like the more important thing is like how you're doing it, who they are, what your relationship is. And even then, it's like nothing you're doing between now and then is really going to change that.
I think you can ramp up attraction and flirty banter prior to asking someone out.
Yes, but like what I'm saying is that's a minor adjustment of the dial, right? There's no cheat code here. Just like, oh, well, you know.
No, I honestly, I think you run the risk. I think you have a more likely to spook a person trying to like increase chances than you are to make your case better. There's so many variables here that I want to like, and like so many avenues that I feel like we can all go down. Because like, yes, we could talk about all the things you could do that would be bad, but that's a lot of things. We could also talk about all the things you could do that are good, which is a lot of things. So I think what you like, in my mind, the way to distill this is, like Niall said, I think you really need to like go in with the confidence that they're going to say yes. And as we've talked about before, be fucking cool if they don't.
Yes, you need to go in not just with the confidence that'll go well, but with the humility and strength to be utterly fucking lovely if they say no.
If you're doing this, and that's like regardless of whether it's in person or online. In person, it's a little harder. It's a little more difficult to take rejection like just square on the chin like that.
Far more important.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You know? So it's like that's the bad thing is like anything you do in person is going to be far more threatening and terrifying towards them, especially if you do take it poorly. So definitely don't if you're in person, right?
I think we need to, I would really stress to not make this a big deal.
Yes.
I think a lot of people try to like make these big, huge gestures, or they like rehearse a speech in their head, or like, you know, you build up this idea of like what this is going to mean. And ultimately it means nothing until they say yes. So don't get yourself like, don't have this big flowery speech because you're not going to remember it. You're going to flub it up. And like nothing's weirder than someone trying to remember what they're supposed to be saying when they're talking to you, or they stumble on something because they've rehearsed it so much that like they get all flustered and turned around. Like, don't do that. Go in,
or, the person in question says something in the middle of your speech and you're like, shut the fuck up. Let me finish. Will you take me?
Done. Are you stepping on my lines?
What the fuck?
So go in knowing your intention, right? Go in knowing what you want and let that inform what you're going to say, and like be willing to listen and be receptive to like environmental stuff. And, you know, don't be like target locked, date, acquire, acquisition mode, boop, 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 bleep, bloop. It's not, I mean, it might still work if they like you, right? And that I think is ultimately what it comes down to is it doesn't matter how much you prepare or how chill you are or how confident you are or how, if they're not into you, they're not into you. And there's really nothing you can do about that.
And that's like, again, kind of what I was trying to say was like, there is no cheat code here. There's nothing really that can change your shit from, you know, a no to a yes over this week. There's a lot of shit that can make it into a no. And I will say that like, it kind of worries me that there's this deadline on Friday, especially with the what can I do between now and then to make it better? Because like, if you're going to see this girl every day and you've just kind of established Friday for no reason, just ask her tomorrow.
What does it say how old they are?
No.
But yeah, like, that gives me strong high school energy.
Turtle 91 though, right? So it's like, if he was born in 91,
yeah,
he ain't young.
He ain't young. It does give me fucking high school energy of being like giving yourself time to like psych yourself up, and Friday's the big night, and like, or Friday's like, you know, the weekend, and there's a little bit of buffer time if it goes wrong that you can like, you know, hide for the weekend and hopefully.
Okay, you know what? I think they're 18.
Okay. I
went through the post history and they're talking about homecoming being 4 months ago.
Okay, yeah. So maybe like just started college. Is homecoming?
Hey, you're the one from over this side of the world. I don't.
Homecoming is not a Canadian thing. Homecoming is an American thing.
Yeah. Either way, Spider-Man: Homecoming. They were still in high school.
Yeah, he was in high school, and that was the first movie. But I also don't know if that was his first year in high school. I don't know.
Either way, they're young enough. So I would just say, like, unless there's a good reason for Friday. Like, maybe you guys are going to hang out after school on Friday. Great, because you don't want to do it in school, surrounded by people, embarrass yourself or them. And that's fine. But unless there's a very good reason for it to be Friday, You know, like if you're thinking every day you'll do one thing to make it more likely that Friday will work, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I feel like we can spin our wheels here forever, telling you all the things. I think what Niall said is the best advice. Do it tomorrow. Do it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, that's how you're going to increase your chances, because the longer you think about it, the more freaked out you're going to get.
Yeah.
The more opportunities you have to like fumble it or like, overthink or do something that you shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking pull that Band-Aid off. And this is my advice to everyone who wants to ask anyone out.
Yeah.
Just do it in a friendly, non-creepy way. But like, if there's someone that you've always wanted to like ask out, like I don't think no one should be upset, barring, obviously exceptions of like power hierarchy or age and et cetera, stuff like that. I don't think anyone would be upset if someone was just like, hey, I really like spending time with you. Would you like to grab a drink with me on Thursday? Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's so low energy, so non-committal. So someone could just be like
flattering.
Yeah. It's just someone, if they're not into it, they're not into it. And if they're into it, they'll say yes. That's like, great, cool.
Yeah, and once you're chill, once you do it, as Dane said, in a normal, cool way, no grand gestures, no ambushes, no public spectacle, just like respectful, person to person, not rehearsed speech. Don't say I love you,
unless you do.
No, especially not then.
2023 is the year of honesty.
Oh no. But yeah, there's no hidden secret here. You just got to be confident and chill and nice, and if the time is right, do it. Don't set an arbitrary date.
Yeah.
All right, is it time for the secret? No, it's not. Next question. No.
Is it time for secret? Secret?
I think it's time for the secret.
We talked about doing a live show. Niall wants to do it. He put it on his vision board. He made a collage about it, and he went into his manifestation chamber, and he did it. He did it.
No, it's my collage chamber and my manifestation board.
Okay. Sorry, I was getting confused. I know. So we're doing a live show. February 16th, just after Valentine's Day, at Black Sheep Cocktail Bar in Liberty Village in Toronto, Ontario.
It's true.
It is at 8:30. The tickets are free. It is a free event, but we highly, highly recommend that you make a reservation ahead of time because the space is not big. It is a fairly cozy bar. It's a cool space, but if you want a table and you want to be able to sit down, we highly recommend making a reservation, and also help us out by mentioning when you're making a reservation that you're there to see Fuck Buddies.
Yeah, that would be incredible. It's going to be a fucking blast. A bunch of people have already said they're going to go. Hopefully you also will, if you can. And we're very excited because it's going to be our first live show ever. So yeah, I'm pumped. It's going to be a blast.
So if you are going to come and you want a question asked at the show, as always, we keep it anonymous. We might ask questions while we're there rhetorically. Don't feel like you have to answer those questions and out yourself if you want to keep yourself anonymous.
If you want to answer them, that's fine too. But
that's also okay.
You know how we do. We throw out questions hypothetically on this, and you do not need to feel like you are under blast or required to.
There is one dude who's just like, oh, fuck, why am I supposed to be answering those questions when you ask them? There's one guy who's now either horrified or relieved that he no longer has to answer our questions while he's listening to our show.
Yeah, I just imagine someone on the subway like, oh, no, I wasn't there. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I didn't send in this question.
So yes, February 16th, Black Sheep Cocktail Bar, Liberty Village, Toronto. Once again, it is a free show, so make your reservations to make sure that you have space for you and your friends. Bring a partner, bring a loved one, bring someone that you think might need some dating advice. Just be like, hey man, I hear this is a really fun place to go, and then we can give some advice and maybe send it a question that would help them.
Ask a really pointed question that's going to make them very uncomfortable. And let us know who it is. We'll lock eyes with them the entire time.
So if you have a question, please send it over to fbuddiespodcast@gmail.com or head on over to our website, click the contact form, fill it out. Just be sure to note that you will be at the show so that we know to save that question for the show and not do it on air. Yeah,
if you don't have it on, we'll just assume it's a normal question. But if you do have it on, we'll save it. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you there because we're very excited. It's a big deal for us.
This is from a recent ad and a bunch of numbers. I was giving him a BJ, but he stopped me. Basically, was hooking up with this guy. We had sex already an hour ago. He asked me to go down on him, so I did. His legs were shaking, and he was throwing his head back, saying it feels good, and he was squeezing my arm real tight. Then out of nowhere, he said, "Oh my God, that's enough," and complimented me again. I was wondering, why would he ask me to stop if it feels so good?
It was either too good, or I'm assuming because they didn't mention that they came the second time, or like
Right,
for the head, right? I'm assuming they didn't.
They didn't, yes.
So it could be just like he was enjoying it, but like because you just had sex, that like he realized that he just wasn't going to get there.
Yes, I mean,
you know, like I guess you just hit that point, which sucks. As anybody who's ever reached that point, because you know the mind is willing, but the flesh is weak.
Yeah, I've definitely been in situations where like I've gone for round 2 or round 3 or whatever, and it feels really good, and I feel like I'm on like the precipice of orgasm, and like I just can't cross that line. And so I eventually comes to the point where it's just like, hey, you let me know when you're good, and we will call it, because it ain't gonna happen for me. And like, God love them. Sometimes the partner's like, okay, well, like maybe I can finish off my mouth, man, finish off my, and you know, a new tactic is introduced, and like. Mm-hmm. I've been in this exact situation where it's just been like, it feels so fucking good, but you know, I'm starting to get sore, and I'm starting to like maybe feel a little bad for you because you're working very hard.
Especially when you're thinking about the point, it's probably at the point. Once you're in your head being like, fuck, am I going to come? Like, that's not a sexy place to be. And then you're going to feel bad for someone. And like, the longer it goes on that you don't come, probably the worse it is for everybody. So it's like, if you're enjoying it, but you know that that's it for you, it's the kind thing to do to stop it and for everyone involved. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's no shame on you. It's just how dicks work sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, look, I would say you noted all of his body language. You noted he was like freaking the fuck out. You were doing a great job. He also complimented you. So there's no reason to believe that it was anything on your end. It was something on his end. And like, again, we've given you a bunch of options as to what it could be. We don't know. We're not him. But I wouldn't be concerned about anything. If the first time you guys hooked up, everything sort of went off without a hitch, and then just, you know, round 2 or this second situation, I wouldn't be too concerned.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, if the next time it happens, he's doing the same thing, maybe you're doing something that is too much just because you're, you know what I mean? You might be like sucking too hard, or he might be particularly sensitive or something. And then that's kind of where the question comes. But in a situation like this, I would be very confident in the answer being he just knew he wasn't going to finish.
And like, I've been on the reverse side of things where I've gone down on a woman, you know, after sex, or I've finished and I've been like, hey, is there something I could do for you? And they'd be like, yeah, go down on me. And then I start going down on there. Like, actually, no, I am still too sensitive. Never mind.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's great.
Just don't take these things to heart. Like, don't take them personally, because then you're kind of like punishing a partner for their honesty. And that's
no, you should wear them as badges of honor, right?
For sure.
And also, like, at least for me as a man, I wear them as like a thing of being like, well, I've done everything that I could.
Oh yeah,
right.
If your partner's saying, "I am good," you have done your job. I am closed for business. Great, you've ticked every box they could have thrown at you.
I love when people are like, "I can't take anymore. Yeah. I'm good."
It's like, it is so sensitive. I am tapped out. I've reached the orgasm limit. Great.
Yeah, because then there's no after worry of being like, oh, did I do enough? I hope they were satisfied. Because like, then you just know, and then you guys can just like snuggle a little bit.
Yeah,
get all those good chemicals that you get for like snuggling after good sex. Get all those things that help our body and our mind.
Yeah.
So also, I do want to just throw that out there. If you don't know how many health and mental benefits there are to a good quick cuddle after sex, I think it's like all you need is 5 minutes of skin-to-skin cuddle contact after sex is so good for you. It's so good for you. Don't be weird about cuddling after sex, even if it's a hookup or a one-night stand. Get those benefits, babies. Get it.
Yeah, people don't realize this, but me and Dane are actually 87.
Yeah, we look great for our age.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute dog shit for the age that you might think I am, 35. I've been ridden hard.
Good? What are you talking about? Whoa, let's take a minute. No, beautiful boy.
But for 87?
For 87, we look good. We're not.
We
87.
Look good.
You want another question?
I do. Right now.
Spuerto 8820. Does she actually like me, or is she using me for fine dining? So I began dating a woman who I've known since we were kids. I first started to talk to her back in June and spent the night during her B-Day weekend. We made out all night once, and afterwards, never again. Since then, I've gone several dates with her since August till now. She's a single mom, very successful, travels a lot, and says she's busy. I've been taking her fine dining about 6 to 8 times now since August, but granted, it's maybe a date or two in a month since we started seeing each other. She says she doesn't want a relationship, but has me take her out. I've spent the night twice now with nothing physical since that night of her birthday back in June. Am I getting played? Or does she actually want more? Because we hit it off very well, but she is terrible at initiating conversation because she said she's busy with her kid throughout the week. She hasn't tried to be physical with me since then. She mentioned she wants to take it slow, but it's been almost 5 months since dating here and there. I feel like I'm being played. Give me some advice as to what I should do for my next step.
Well, are you trying to initiate physical interactions and sexual chemistry or anything? Like, what are you doing? That's what I need to know.
It really does feel like that is maybe a thing we should have been told as the people answering the question. There's a guy in the subway like, I don't know.
I've already told you. I don't know. Yeah, you need to let us know whether or not you're initiating sexual. Like, if you're going back, if she's like, thanks for dinner, bye, and then like hops in her fucking Bentley and peels out, then yeah, you might be getting fucking played a little. But if you were like, hey, you want to come back to my place, and then you guys go back to your place, and then you guys just sit awkwardly at the couch on opposite ends of the couch, and you don't try to make a move or, try to initiate anything, then I don't know what to tell you. Take a little bit more initiative. Try to go for a kiss. Try to invite them back to your place if this is something you like, and then have the conversation of being like, hey, what are we looking for here? Like, are you cool? Like, do we want to have sex? Do you obviously don't have that conversation? That's very blunt and to the point, but there's no harm in being like, hey, do you want to come back to my place? You look beautiful tonight. And I like sitting here and not being able to get my hands on you is driving me crazy. And there you've set the stage of being like, I would like to get you back to your place and I would like to be physical with you. Not necessarily have sex. That's a constant negotiation of consent that you can have at any point in time during this interaction. But you need to like at least put it on the table and be like, hello, I find you attractive and would like to have sex with you.
Yeah. Well, like, there's a lot here. One, why haven't you talked to her? She's your friend since you were kids. Can you not talk to her? You should be able to talk to someone you're dating anyway. But if it's someone you're dating who you've been friends with forever, you should be able to talk. Two, again, there's so much here that we haven't been told that we need to know. But like, if you're worried that fine dining is the thing she's using you for, maybe next time you hang out, don't do fine dining. You're clearly upset about it. And it's like, we kind of talked before about how when you're going on dates, it's like doing stuff like this is really bad for your wallet. Even if things were going well, it's like we wouldn't recommend doing fine dining every date. Do something else. Invite her over for a fucking movie. Go for a hike. I don't know. But like, if she refuses to see you unless you're bringing her out for fine dining, you have your answer.
That's a very good point. And
right?
I understand why he's doing this, because a lot of people fall into the pitfalls of like, if you're really into someone and the first time you finally got to get them to go out with you was, a high-end fancy dinner, people kind of fall into the trap of thinking like, oh, this is how I prove my worth. This is how they see me as a valid partner. I'm going to keep doing this. So probably every time he messages her, when he gets a little skittish and desperate because, she's busy dealing with a kid and a full-time job and everything, he Hail Marys, instead of being like, hey, do you want to come over mine for a drink? Or, hey, do you want to grab a drink? He's like, I need to, I want to see her. So it's like, hey, do you want to go get a fucking fine dining dinner? And you're going from like 0 to 100 instead of like, towing the line. There's nothing wrong. If you have the money and you like spending time with her and you enjoy these dates, there's nothing wrong with like spoiling yourselves, for sure.
No, not at all. But I'm judging by this question, there is something wrong on his end. So yeah, change it up. Talk to her. Like there are so many very simple things you can do here to figure out where you're at. You say she doesn't want a relationship. Does that mean she just doesn't want to date, or she fully does not see a relationship with you? Because if she told you this and you're ignoring that and are now upset that nothing's happened, then you're an asshole.
That's the other thing. Does she know these are dates? If you guys are friends and have been friends for a very long time, does she know that, like, outside of I assume, like, probably a drunken makeout on our birthday, that maybe you've never mentioned again, or she might not even remember, or, you know, maybe you guys thought it was a mistake and just thought it's better to keep it unspoken.
Yeah, especially if she says she doesn't want a relationship since that happened. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there's a very much a difference being like, oh, I'm down to, like, fool around, but I don't want to, like, make this into, like, a long-term thing, but, like, I'm down to fuck buddy scenario or something like that. Great. But if that happened, you would have your answer. So the fact that she only said she doesn't want a relationship, and that's all you seem to know, but then since then nothing's happened or been clarified and you're upset, I'm very worried that she, in fact, did tell you her answer and you were like, cool, and then completely ignored it.
Yeah. So I think the important thing here is to clarify your relationship. And that's not to hit her with the, what are we? It's a way to state your intention, right?
Yes. I think you don't put it on her.
Yeah, no, it's not her job, right? It is your job to be like, hi, I've really enjoyed the time we're spending together. I know you're not looking for a relationship. I'm very happy to do a casual thing, but I'm very attracted to you and I would love to spend more time with you. And I'm happy to keep going on dates, but, like, the amount of times I've wanted to kiss you or the amount of times I've wanted to bring you back to my place is, like, every day or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what your situation is, but let them know that you are attracted to them, you want a sexual relationship, and that is something that you are looking for. Yeah. And then gauge the reaction.
And also, be honest with us, yourself, and them, because if you want more than just this casual thing, maybe don't pursue this any further.
Also a very good point.
Don't still, like, Trojan horse your way into her bed only to try to, you know, bust out and claim the Troy of her relationship.
What a wild analogy.
It works.
Figure out your shit, get your ducks in order before you start making up nefarious plans as to, like, what people's, you know, deep, dark intentions are with you, or, like, ulterior motives. Just lay it on the table and then see what they pick up. And if it's not what you're looking for, then carry on. This is Adorable Horror. How to Get Over Husband's Past. Now, the way this is written, it's like... It
sounds so dark.
Like ghosts past? Like ghosts of girlfriends past? As in, like, husband's past?
Like P-A-S-S-E-D?
Like the one, you know, it's like, no, like P-A-S-T, but it's not a possessive husbands. It's a plural husbands.
Okay.
Right? So it sounds like, how do I get over... Multiple husbands that I've once had, but it's not. It is their sordid history. I recently, after about a year of marriage, learned that he's been to bathhouses, etc., and had an uncountable number of sex partners, including numerous gangbangs and orgies. We had talked about past relationships earlier in the relationship, and I knew he had more partners than me, but I guess I didn't think it was anything like this. I'm quite old-fashioned and prudish when it comes to sex, and to be honest, I can't help but feel extremely uncomfortable. This is all up to the point where knowing this makes me uncomfortable around him, especially sexually, and I find it hard to get turned on by him knowing what I do. I know past is past, and I don't have a doubt that it's all behind him. How do I let this go? And then edit, I should probably mention, I'm a guy too, we're gay.
Look, you're slut-shaming, I think, because what matters in a relationship is, you know, how they act, do you trust them, are they a good partner, etc., etc., etc. And presumably these are all boxes they tick because you've gotten this far without any issues. He does turn you on, presumably because it's only a problem now. You've gotten married. Like, so obviously everything is good. And the only thing that's changed is that you found out about their sexual history, which clearly you don't agree with. But, like, that doesn't change anything. It's now just tarnished your view of them because you have opinions on it that are, in my opinion, kind of slut-shaming.
Yeah, I think that's, like you say, you're old-fashioned and prudish, but I think Niall has nailed it on the head, and I will reiterate, this is a slut-shaming situation. This is no different than if you were like, oh, I found out that he's had 5 boyfriends, and if 5 is the number you're uncomfortable with, then 5 is the number you're uncomfortable with, and it doesn't really change who they are or what they are or how they met you. Like, all those things are constants, you know what I mean? Like, his behavior and all that, like, that is who he is.
Yeah.
And if you think he's also, like, you say at the very end that you're sure that he's put it all behind him.
Which, like, is even more damning. It's like, cool. So you are agreeing that you don't even have any doubts. You're just literally basing this off a thing he did in his past. And you know what's fucking annoying? This is such a hot topic on Reddit right now, where every question of like, I found out my girlfriend slept with 7 guys, and all of a sudden, I don't think she's wife material. And people are like, yo, you're slut shaming. And then there's this like crazy like brigade of people who are like, well, actually, no, it's not slut shaming. It's just that you're incompatible sexually because blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, if you were incompatible sexually, that would be a problem that would have come up before when you were having sex because your sex was incompatible. Not, oh, now that I found out a thing about their past, everything about them has been tarnished in my eyes, where I'm judging them and changing my behaviors. And it's so frustrating to see this like weird Reddit movement to try to like make slut shaming okay. It really pisses me off.
Well, I mean, let's face it. The only reason it's happening on Reddit is because it's prevalent in society. So it's
yes, I know, but like I can see it very clearly when it pops up question after question after question, you know. But like it's this weird resurgence of like trying to reframe slut shaming in this way where it's like, no, I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. I have traditional values. Our values are mismatched. It's like pisses me off because the value in this specific instance is like you're in a like a you're in a monogamous. Wow,
there it is.
You're in a monogamous relationship and you trust them, so no values are being broken there. And it's like presumably you guys have been with each other long enough that like, you know, health concerns aren't a thing. It's not like you even want to play that card where like hopefully they've been safe and checked because it's been so long that that's not a concern either. So what is the issue here?
Yeah, it's one thing to like find out that like, oh, my husband was incarcerated for human trafficking.
Yeah.
Great. That is something that like, even if they've reformed and has changed, might be something that like, ooh, I don't know. Like that's a pretty fucked up thing to do. And that makes me uncomfortable. Okay, I get that. But
not
to be
that, like, not to say people with criminal past can't be reformed or changed or anything, but I think the point given here is that human trafficking is a horrendous thing. I hate that I have to, I don't know why I feel the need to explain to people everything. They get it.
Yes, I chose, that's why it wasn't like, he smoked marijuana once.
Wait, what? The devil's lettuce?
Finding something arbitrary about what someone's done in the past within their own body that they are allowed to have complete control over and their decisions of. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's no difference in being like, whoa, hold on a sec. Wait, what? You were a brunette in college? Mm-hmm. I only like blondes. I'm very traditional in my hair color choice. And I don't like that you dyed your hair brunette. I could never be with a brunette. I'm not attracted to them. And it's like, well, but they're not brunette anymore. You know, like it's so arbitrary. And like, I honestly feel like some people might think that it is sort of like reductive in terms of my analogy, but I literally think they're the same thing. I think if you look at someone's sexual history and you get upset by it, as long as it's consensual adult relationships and no one's done anything horrendous.
Shit.
Yeah. If it's just the fact that they've slept with more people than you feel comfortable with, if that's why you're upset about someone's sexual history, then you might as well be upset about, you know, their style, like what kind of pants they wore in high school. You might as well be upset about like what kind of music they listened to as a kid. You know, like all these things, or like what movies they liked as a child. Like any of those things of being like, ugh, I can't be with my husband. He liked Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah,
that's like, fuck off. All those things are building blocks that created the person that's standing in front of you that you loved before you took a magnifying glass to each individual block.
Yeah. So what? He got a little freaky once or twice or a few times. Who cares? It's just so bizarre that people think that like stains a person. So basically what you need to do is get over whatever it is about this. Like find out why this bothers you. Like, does it make you feel lesser? Like, do you feel like you aren't sexually compatible because you're the boring one, or like that you didn't live an adventurous life? Or like, do you have shitty thoughts where like you now think he's like sullied or dirty or something because you got a little slut-shamey prude bone in you? And deal with those.
My answer to you, question asker, is go to therapy. Mm-hmm. It sounds like saying that you're old-fashioned and prudish often translates into, I've repressed things. Mm-hmm. I have toxic learned behaviors from bad social structures or bad parents, right? Like that's really what old-fashioned and prudish means. No one who's old-fashioned is translating into good societal standards, right? Like that, it's stuff. I don't know if you know this.
Me?
Just in general. I was asking the man on the subway, but old things were bad. Society was mostly bad. And we've made a lot of progress.
Incredibly fucked up. If you look at like the dates of things that we kind of like take for granted, and then you're like, holy shit, that was like 20 years ago or 30 or like very, very, very recent. I wouldn't even call them old fashioned because they're so recent. And then you want to go further than that and base your personality there. Also, like, as a gay guy, to turn around and be like, hey, I'm a prude and old fashioned. It's like, that's what the people who fucking come for gay people and try to like be homophobic say. I don't know how you could turn around and say that to your partner with a straight face.
And that is why I think therapy will help you. I think talking to a mental health professional will really benefit you in working through why someone else's personal history that didn't include you whatsoever prior to ever meeting you, or even prior to you guys getting together, is impacting you so much. I think that is 100% a you problem, and I think that is something that you have the onus to deal with. Yeah. It is not your partner's, and thankfully, it seems like you know that. It does not seem like the partner needs to do anything in this case. In this case, the work is yours to be done. So go get yourself a therapist, talk to them about this, maybe even talk to your partner about getting like a couples counselor to sort of like help you, like guide you guys both through it so that you can become accepting as a unit. But at the end of the day, the problem is yours and the solution needs to be yours as well.
You're ready.
I feel like when we're doing this show in 10 years time, when we're both 97, the answers will just be like communicate, therapy, break
just
up
get
with them.
Robots to say that.
Yeah.
While we smoke cigars on some retirement home rooftop.
Or a super yacht.
This is by Valuable Worry 1995. My 27-year-old female best friend, also 27-year-old female, wants to come from out of town to help me with postpartum, but I don't trust that she won't make a move on my husband, 33. My best friend and I have been close for 6 years, but recently we are in such different points in our life, I feel distant from her. She's moved into New Age spirituality and believes that polyamory is more enlightened than monogamy. She's very proud of herself for being sexually liberated because she slept with over 100 men. While I 100% believe a woman's sexuality belongs to her alone to decide how to express it, as long as it's ethical and consensual, it does concern me that she sleeps with any man she goes on a date with, is not getting tested regularly, and isn't always using protection. She also says she wants a relationship, but the men she's engaging with don't. I've expressed some of these concerns for her emotional and physical well-being, but it's only getting more frequent. Meanwhile, my husband and I have been together for 2 years, are expecting a baby, buying a house, and in therapy to learn how to communicate better and be more regulated parents. So my friend and I are in very different places in our life. She lives across the country and wants to come help me during postpartum, but there are a few warning signs that make me really uncomfortable. 3 years ago, I broke up with someone who I was with for 7 years. It was an amicable, loving breakup. We'd just grown apart. 6 months after the breakup, my friend was visiting town and asked me how I'd feel if she started a sexual relationship with my ex. I was okay at the time and gave her the go-ahead. The next man I dated after, she kept teasing about us all having a threesome. She never met him, it was a short relationship, and she doesn't live here. She would just ask a lot of questions about our intimacy. She's met my husband twice and has been respectful, but she's trying to become a tantra sex coach, so she's brought up to me several times wanting to do sex coaching with us. We don't need it, and I have no interest in being involved in our sex life. Since I told her about the baby, she seems to be really wanting this life for herself, wanting to find a partner and be with someone she can see as a father, and has said she wants to find someone like my husband who will let her be in an open relationship. She's told me several times polyamory is healthier and more natural, and I should consider opening the relationship with my husband. I don't want her around my husband while I'm healing from birth. I also feel conflicted if I even want friends who I don't trust. I don't know how to approach the situation or how to handle it, if it's worth having a conversation with her, or if I should distance myself. What do I do?
Follow your gut. If you don't want this person around you or your husband or your baby, don't have them around you. It's really that simple. We talk about it all the time. If you don't trust your partner, don't be with your partner. And I think that transcends the, sexual and romantic relationship boundaries and flows into any relationship you have. If I didn't trust any of my friends, I wouldn't be friends with them.
Yeah. No.
And I certainly wouldn't call, like, if I didn't trust you, every time I had a partner or whatever, and, I was like, oh, I don't know if Niall's going to fuck my girlfriend.
That would be a bad person to hang out with.
You wouldn't be my best friend.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Yeah. Now, that, like, what you're saying isn't wrong. But, like, I feel like there's more to this situation because from what I can see, the person in question hasn't done anything to earn the ire of the question asker. It seems very couched in slut shaming.
I understand your phrase or your
point of view.
Your point of view, yes. But there is precedent of her making moves on past partners.
One past partner who was an ex who she asked about and was given the go ahead. Like,
yeah, but wasn't there another one?
No, she teased. She made it like next man I dated after. She teased about us all having a threesome. She never met him, and it was a short relationship. Doesn't live here, so it's like, was it a joke? If someone wanted to bring it up, but like they're being chill, and you just say no, and they're like, okay, like, you know, because like even if she'd gone and slept with this person a few months after you broke up, that would be one thing. I still think it's quite a leap to go from there to she'll fuck my husband in my home while helping me after birth. But like the woman asked and was given a go-ahead and did it. And other than that, her only concerns are that she's polyamorous, sleeps with a bunch of guys, and is now becoming a sex coach, as if these are all bad things.
Now, I will also say, I don't know if I'd want a sex coach who doesn't get tested regularly and doesn't wear protection. That seems
for sure. Yeah.
Like bad coaching. So
then again, this is all filtered through the question asker, who does seem a little, shall we say, prudish and old-fashioned.
Sure, but we can't do this show if every time someone says something we don't, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to take the fact that if she knows that her friend is sleeping with hundreds of men and you know what I mean? I don't see why I would not believe that.
I feel like when we're reading questions, we can tell there's more to things, and we've done it many times.
I mean, they're best friends, so I assume that she knows that she's not getting tested and isn't wearing protection. It seems like a wild
like best friends to me.
It seems like a wild thing to put in if you didn't have that information. Regardless, I at the end of again, if you don't trust them, don't have them in. Here's my stance on it, and I understand how this does come across as slut shaming, and I think there is definitely elements of that. I think this woman definitely thinks less of this person because of their sexual preferences and their sexual activity. But I do also understand that the last thing I would want if I had a new fucking kid in my house is some woman in my ear constantly trying to enlighten me in her new age bullshit. And I'm not saying polyamory is new age bullshit. I'm saying that it said that she got into like new age spiritualism or something, right? That is the last thing I would fucking want when I have a baby screaming and I haven't slept and I haven't eaten a real meal and my boobs are sore because I'm nursing. The last thing I also want is this woman who hasn't gone through this experience telling me that you should be more sensual with your husband. You should be having sex with your husband. And now is the most important time to be fucking, you know what I mean? I feel like that would be absolutely fucking nightmarish torture.
Yeah, I agree, because the thing I think the friend does the worst in this question is that she seems to kind of cross that boundary of trying to prescribe her lifestyles onto other people. It's cool to be polyamory or whatever, monogamous, but if you're a monogamous person going to a polyamorous person and being like, oh, it's actually way less sinful to love one partner, or you're a polyamorous person being like, wow, you really need to open up. It's bad. Fuck off. Let people do their own things. That's kind of annoying. But so yes, I agree. It sounds like she would make a bad postpartum partner or whatever she wants to be. But do you need her? Why is this even a question? Just be like, hey, I'm good.
Arrangement? Is she going to stay at your place? Because that's, I would absolutely, I don't care how much, the last thing I want to do when I have a new, if I had a new kid, and again, I don't have kids, but I have a lot of friends who have new kids, and I can't imagine also having a person there as well that you also kind of have to take care of, because they're a guest in your house, right? So you're not just going to be
I don't like having a guest in my house when I'm hungover, let alone when I have a new child,
which is an 18-year hangover.
Yeah, basically. So just one, if you don't need her to do this, why would you have her do this when you don't want her to? So that's one. Two, if you don't trust your friends, again, it does sound like you're being very slut-shamey, then don't be fucking friends with them if you don't trust them. It's fair. It's not fair on her. It's not fair on you. So get that out of the way. Three, it's weird that you don't really mention your husband in any of this, because it's if you trust them, this is still a non-issue, right? And four, I don't know, just this whole question stresses me out.
even if I trusted my husband, I would also be like, I don't want someone around who's constantly trying to be like, hey, you should open your relationship. Look how much fun I'm having. Like, I'd also be like, you just leave him alone. He's trying to raise a child right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Just something about this question asker rubs me wrong, and it's like you can just feel the disdain dripping through it. And maybe there is more background that, obviously us as not the person who's known this person for years don't have, access to. But I don't like the way how it sounds. But at the same time, just don't have this person over if you don't fucking want them to.
Yeah.
And that's probably it for questions. But it's not it for Tinders.
Yes. At the end of the episode, we like to hop on to online dating platforms such as Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge in an effort to make your online dating experience a little more enjoyable by combing through them and trying to find red flags to see what works and what doesn't work.
I got you with Basima, and she says, unvaxxed, unmuzzled, unafraid, and you should be too. Purebloods only, no libtards or P-Dojo supporters. Lions only, no sheep. Straightforward and honest, be mentally stable, don't waste my time. Old school, no hookups, God first. Praying emoji, heart. I enjoy swimming, the beach, live music, comedy clubs, dancing, experiencing new restaurants, motorcycles, and guns.
I was gonna say the second half of the profile, if you like, is okay, and then we got to guns. So I mean, obviously not for me. Red flags, plenty, almost all of them. But I feel like that's a profile for a very specific kind of person. This is, what was that? The Right Stuff? I feel like this is a Right Stuff profile.
Yeah, maybe. It looks like a Tinder. But yeah, it's
I mean, like it's probably from Tinder. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, no, it feels like they.
Yes.
That's the app for them. Yeah, it's gonna be a -1 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a -1 as well. This is Max, 28. So anyway, who trying to be friends with benefits? And the benefits are, we're dating. And you would love me with all your heart, and you would die for me.
I feel like we've had this one before. And I don't know if it's the same profile or if it's just like a new trend. I don't like it because I've seen it so many times.
Okay.
So I can give it a 4. Give it a 4.
I'm giving it a 6 because I don't remember it that much, and I thought it was funny.
Yeah, no, we've definitely read it before, and I've since had at least 2 sent to me.
Well,
I don't know if it's the same person.
Me neither.
If it is, I'm sorry. You played yourself. Or I played you. Who knows?
For being on different dating apps.
Yeah, but if it isn't you, then it's unoriginal. I'm sorry. This one, well, we'll see what you think about this one. It's unnamed, and it's a Hinge. It says, the prompt is swipe right if, and they say, you are racist, homophobic, or hateful towards anybody simply because they are different than you.
Uh-oh. Found the person who doesn't know what left and right is.
Yeah, I really don't think... Like, there's a picture of them just smiling right above it, and like, I don't know. I don't think this is what they meant.
No, this obviously sounds like they meant left swipe. Also, you don't swipe on Hinge, so that's a weird prompt.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something else. It's one where if there's maybe not Bumble, does Bumble have the prompts?
Yes.
Maybe it's
Is
Bumble.
It yellow?
Yeah, it's like a yellow heart with a heart, or a yellow question thing with a heart in it. Yeah.
Yes. Bumble.
Either way, you goofed.
You goofed. You're gonna get a lot of weird matches.
Yeah.
Finally, someone.
Oh man, yeah. I will give this a 1 because even if you meant it the right way, you did it so wrong that you said the worst thing.
Yeah. This is Ren. I don't have an ego. My Facebook photo is a landscape. Old enough to realize that the meaning of life is just getting high and watching bad movies. Would really like it if people stopped bragging about their height on here. I get it. You're taller than me.
Did they say old enough to realize the meaning of life is getting high and watching movies?
Yep.
It doesn't seem like a thing that constitutes being old, but okay.
I think they're saying they've lived long enough to realize that, like...
I guess, yeah.
Burning away the pretense, you know?
Yeah. I'll give it like a 6.
Oh, you fool. This is an 8.
Wow.
It's very good. It's funny. We've got a community reference, and one of my favorite jokes in community. I don't have an ego. My Facebook photo is a landscape.
Yeah, okay. See, I just like the people who don't have their face as their profile are the worst people on Twitter, and I spend my entire life on Twitter between our 2 podcasts, so that was like a negative in my book.
No, it's a funny joke, and I love it.
Well,
it's also it's a deep cut, so I respect it.
Okay.
Old enough to realize that the meaning of that you don't take yourself very seriously and you just want to chill. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's great. And then this has strong me energy at the end of being like, really wish people would stop bragging about their height. I get it, you're taller than me. It's very similar to the way I end my profile, being like, if I super like you, it's not a mistake, it's a power move.
Fair.
I like that.
Yeah, no,
I feel like I get a lot from them.
If I got the community joke, it would have been higher, but I didn't, and it's a 6 for me.
I'm giving you a 6. How about that?
Yeah, 6 out of 6. Full marks.
On our wild grading metric of 6.
You know it. This is Amy, 29. All men are pigs, but I do love me some bacon.
Okay. I'm giving it a 3. It's kind of funny, but
Amy, that's what you got? That's it?
Like it's like Facebook mom coffee mug comedy. You know what? No, I'm giving it a 2.
2. Okay.
You're not a racist, but it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. And we ended on that one.
That's it, friends. That is the show. Thank you very much. Once again, a reminder, February 16th, our very first live show at the cocktail bar known as The Black Sheep in Liberty Village in Toronto. Make your reservations. Make sure you're saying you're there for the show. It's 8:30 p.m. is when it's happening.
And it's going to be a fucking blast.
It's going to be a fucking blast.
Thank you to everyone who is supporting us on our Patreon. If you want to get over there and join the squad, you can do Patreon.com/FBuddies and come support us. It's going to be great. Appreciate it. Thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Seeds for their song Paper Stars. This was going to be brief, and this is apparently what would have won worst bad sex writing of last year, but they decided not to hold it. And it is an intimate memoir by Salika Dawson about her dalliance with the author John le Carré. And she said they had sex only the hero and heroine can have, sex for the cameras, sex for the gods, and that he drove himself into her like a plowshare.
I feel like that's bad sex.
Yeah, like plows not known for anything but destroying the earth. Just
not even
destroying it.
I'm not talking about the plow. I'm ignoring the plow.
We should talk about the plow. The plow's entire job is to fuck the earth up.
Yeah.
That's all it does.
Sure, why wouldn't you want to fuck your partner up? But like the sex for the camera and sex for like the hero, like if you watch a movie, the sex that you see most main characters having isn't that good.
No.
Like it might be temporarily hot, slamming someone against a counter and like fucking them on against the wall or whatever. It does usually last like less than a minute, and
that's how good it is.
Kind of fizzles. Like I feel like good sex is the sloppy stuff. It's where you're laughing and rolling and there's rolls and there's and you're not being watched. Like also, I feel like that's the good sex.
Sex for the gods. Like I don't think anyone's fucking being like, watch me, God, watch. Everyone's like kind of fucking, and then you might think like, oh shit, Jesus is looking, and you kind of like also you get a little more shy.
Historically, anytime there's sex and gods
goes bad
combined, it's really bad for everyone involved. Usually, pretty.
Sex for the gods is just when you have a hand over your eyes so that you don't go blind by looking at them, because that happened a lot in ancient Greece. Or sex for the cameras, you can't look certain directions or else you have to yell cut and start again.
Yeah. Or it's like, one of you is dressed up like a fucking goose or whatever Zeus was always doing. Zeus was always like an animal fucking someone.
Yeah. The original furry, holla.
Hello. Thank you very much for listening, friends. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Mal Spain. Come see our live show.
We're Fuck Buddies.